Governor Patrick Morrisey signed House Bill 2354 into law, which prohibits certain harmful food dyes from being used in ingredients in school lunches, and that starts in August.
This might be a big shock when you find out what this is going to entail, because then, beginning in 2028, those same dyes have to be removed from all foods for sale in West Virginia. That's going to be a big shift in life.
Undertaking.
So we brought in a guy to help us dissect this. Dr. Matthew Christiansen from Valley Health Systems. We appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this has been something we've been talking about, it not only in the newsroom all week, but even at home if you look in your pantry. So talk a little bit more about why there is a concern about those dyes that are in so many foods.
Sure. So this bill bans 7 food dyes, and there's growing evidence over the course of the past couple of decades that these food dyes lead to negative behavioral outcomes in kids. And so kids, especially that have existing behavioral issues, whether it's ADHD or inattention or other issues, learning or attention issues, have been shown to have those symptoms made worse by these types of food dyes. And these are very, very well done studies. But this body of evidence has grown over the past couple of decades, and it's become very clear that these are real health issues for the kids that we care so much about here.
And added to an awful lot of products. Tell us a little bit about what you know of this bill.
Yeah, so this bill will ban, again, these 7 food dyes and a couple of other additives. It will goes into effect in school lunches first here in August of this year, but then in 2028 affects all foods sold across West Virginia. There's been a lot of controversy about this bill, as you can imagine, because it would have a big impact on the food industry. But this is really a shot across the bow by the legislature to say that what is in our food matters, and it's important that we pay attention to the health impacts of our food. And we can hope that this attention is then spread over to things like processed sugars and other processed foods that impact the health of our kids as well.
And you know, West Virginia being the first state to do this, what does that mean from your perspective as not only a healthcare professional, but someone who is, you know, up to date with all this kind of
and where we've been fighting obesity and other problems.
Sure, you know, it sets West Virginia up as a national leader. This is a big priority of the Trump administration and of the MAHA movement with RFK Jr. And it's something that because we know the evidence and it's grown over time, and it really does require some national and statewide legislative attention, it sets West Virginia up as a health leader and health policy leader in this space. So I think we should thank Governor Morrisey and the legislature and other delegates for passing this bill and putting us on the map.
Well, the other concern is, for the average consumer, if you go to the grocery store, am I all of a sudden going to see whole blank shelves of stuff that used to be there? Are they just going to wipe out whole sections?
You know, I doubt it. That's okay. that's what the food industry has said. You know, I think that, again, this is kind of a shot across the bow of saying that we care about what's in our food. We want to make sure that our food is healthy and nutritious, especially for our kids. There are natural dyes that food industry can put in place. They might not be as bright or be as shelf stable or last as long, but it's something that there are things that the industry can do to adapt to this regulation to make sure that they still have those vibrant colors.
I think people would be shocked also how many different products have dyes in them. How many products are out there that you don't think that's not its natural color?
Well, and also, Dr. Christiansen, the foods that we're seeing in the video we're showing, a lot of those are processed foods that aren't going to be the healthy foods that they, you know, push, especially for kids in schools on their lunch trays anyway. So there may not be that huge of a difference what kids are seeing on their tray versus, you know, what we're talking about here with the food dyes.
Sure, yeah, and again, we always, when we talk about nutrition for kids, we always want to emphasize fresh fruits and vegetables, lean meats, and avoiding the processed foods, the things that you find on, you know, in the middle, generally the middle of the grocery store aisles. You want to stick to the outside, which is where the milk, the eggs, the meats, the fish, the produce lie. That's what we should really be focusing on for our kids' nutrition and health, and avoiding processed foods, things that come in packages, things that you can't really recognize the ingredients of. We should stay away from those as much as possible as a general guideline anyway.
Dr. Christiansen, thank you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I think we may ask you to come back again the closer we get to implementation and find out how this is going and how it's affecting not only the students first, but then all of us later. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Well, coming up.